Hello, everyone, and welcome to Purple Curtain Podcast. I guess it's kind of roughly monthly now podcast about the Sakamichi idol group Nogizaka46 and the Sakamichi idol Saito Kyoko. This is John.
This is Russell.
And I think just to start off, I'm gonna say a little about the senbatsu lineup because we signed off the last episode with, our sort of like hopes and predictions for the senbatsu lineup, and as it turns out, the management decided to out-meme us by just selecting all of first gen in the front couple of rows. So I'm kind of quite pleased with what they did. I'm not sure that it's a wise move going forward, but I think for a one-off thing to like celebrate my aunt's graduation, I think it's quite a good thing that they did it, and I'm glad they did.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it too. Wasn't really expecting that, especially since first gen has members that are relatively less popular, like Maya.
I was really happy to see Maya again. Because, I think I was kind of saying this in the last episode, but, I think Maya's contributed, a lot as a member. So, I'm glad that she's been rewarded again with this.
Yeah, I think there's only one downside potentially to this. That's the third row. It's like basically all the non-first gen who I guess is deemed to be necessary for senbatsu are squeezed behind the back in the third row, and it's a really crowded third row basically. Interesting.
I think it's kind of like it has the potential to look quite clumsy on stage, and I think this is something we might come back to when we talk about the new single, because I think a few bits of choreography have come to light, and it seems quite static. But I think we're going to return to the new song at the end of the episode, because I kind of feel as though it might encourage me to sort of like just carry on and on a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds good. We can talk about that later on.
Yeah, and I don't want to end up getting sidetracked. So
Is there any? Yeah.
Sorry, what was that you were going to say?
I was just saying, is there any particular member you wish were on instead?
Hadn't really thought about it that much.
I mentioned that I thought Nanka being on was a little bit peculiar, and you promised you're going to debate later.
Well, yeah, no. It's just bias. I just like Rusty. That's all. It's got. I think the other thing is it's got a lot to do with the fact that like Rentan has centered a couple of B-sides and stuff. So it's obvious that management want to push her. I think she's been doing like well enough so far. So I think I'd just let them go with it, really.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I agree. Management obviously have a liking for her, and she's not unpopular. I guess, she's kind of in the place where if you just divide third gen by their top popular member and their member that are really struggling, she's kind of like the wall in the middle. She's obviously not as popular as their top virgins, but she's also obviously more popular than their struggling virgin. So she's kind of like in that very, very interesting position, basically. The question that came to me was basically, even though she's not like doing bad among virgins, she is obviously doing less well compared to Ayame, who is, fourth gen and was in front row. So if you just purely look at their numbers, they're both the same age. You might want to push Ayame instead. But yeah, I'm not against Lenka being in the senbatsu. I just thought it was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I think if I was going to talk about people I'd like to put in, I think all I'd say is that maybe if they were going to have an unusual senbatsu, I would have taken the opportunity to cram even more second gen members in there as well. But you know, I've had my agenda for quite a long time, so you know.
Yeah, like if I can maybe throw in one or two more second gen and maybe move down, then like Lenka would be my choice to move down. Nothing against her, it's just that beside her, everyone else seems a bit more irreplaceable on Senbatsu. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just like last word on the senbatsu, I think we're both quite pleased with it. I think total satisfaction is kind of never going to happen, is it?
Nah, I don't think so, but I think this got quite close to it. I don't really think I saw much negative sentiment regarding this about it. I think most fans are decently happy, and even if your OG is like in third gen, fourth gen, second gen, I think most fans are fine with first
Yeah,
gen, including Maya being honored and having her chance for Maya's graduation single.
I think when it comes to senbatsu lineups, I think the thing that tends to get frustrating for fans is when it looks as though things are too static to change for the members they want to get in. Whereas this is, you know, like quite an extreme choice, but it's a choice which looks likely to only ever happen one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's no way Maya will become a senbatsu stable, unfortunately, and yeah, that's a matter of fact.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I think moving on, we wanted to talk a little bit about there's a wave of Nogizaka PBs coming on out in the
Mm-hmm.
next couple of months.
Yeah.
So we have got Yoda,
Mm-hmm.
we've got Zuki,
Mm-hmm.
we've got Manatsu.
Mm-hmm.
Kawago has had a sort of photo book and interview book came out, I think, actually maybe about a week or so ago, was it?
Oh, it came out already?
Yeah, yeah. No, well, you know, like, I kind of haven't gone looking for it in the shots, but you know, like Kawago has posted photos of it, so I kind
Mm-hmm.
of assume it has to have come out, or else it wouldn't exist for her to take photos of and put on Twitter. But
Oh no, I mean,
there's,
I mean, it's a release already?
I'm not sure. I know this sounds stupid, but I mean, it's like I've tried to like cut back the number I buy, so I haven't gone on Amazon to look for it, but you know, Kawago has shown us the finished article, so I just kind of assumed it had come out. Like maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's not coming out for a little while, but you know, she's shown the actual article, so I kind of just assumed it had,
Hmm.
I guess.
I see. Yeah, no worries.
Um, yeah, maybe a little bit dumb there. Maybe I'm just assuming a bit too much, but there's also the issue of Hori's PB, which looks like it might never come out and is quite a weird and frustrating experience for everyone involved, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Miona's situation is quite weird. Like, the only parallel we can think of is probably Kijan's, but, you know, Kijan wasn't doing too well at the time, like, health-wise, so it isn't that weird, in
Yeah, it
general
looked
thing.
like a lot of strange things were happening with Ki-chan around the time that it was supposed to come out, which is what it looks like it didn't end up coming out until much, much later. This is just
Yeah.
kind of the lack of news about Hori's PB when, you know, other PBs are kind of like being announced, photographed, and, you know, like Yoda and Zuki's ones have already been sent to the printers, basically, haven't they? So it's really, really weird as to why we've heard absolutely nothing about Miona's at all.
Yeah.
I can't
Miona's
even
PB is.
speculate as to why it's happening. Do you know what I mean? It's not as though like Miona has kind of been relegated by management or anything like that. It's really weird.
Yeah, I think management still like Miona. She's still like we're going to get Hooligan done soon. In fact, we're going to talk about that in a bit. Like yeah, she's not obviously unwell, and even if she is right now, the photo book's already done. So like should be done. She was in France way back,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when she make that announcement, right? She made that surprise showroom announcement, and she was in southern France in what seems like a photo shooting session, and it's been like 4 months now, is it? Or 5?
Like, I mean, yeah, it's really strange. You know,
And
it makes me think up
yeah,
conspiracy theories of like, have they accidentally deleted all the photos or something? Do they
actually,
need to
I'm thinking
shoot it
that. I'm
again?
thinking
Like,
that.
what? Like, yeah, it's so weird. But I guess you wanted to talk a little bit about sales, didn't you? Which I don't really know anything about, so I'm just gonna let you talk about whatever it was you wanted to talk about there.
Yeah, yeah, I've been keeping a chart up to date of Nogi PB sales basically. And yeah, it's I think one of the interesting questions is people like trying to predict how much Yoda's PB will sell,
Hmm.
and people like to compare stuff, right? And that includes me. I like to look at
Yeah.
numbers, predict on the chart. Mizuki's PB sold 140K, I believe, so far. Her first week was like 106,000, roughly speaking, and that's pretty good. In fact, I think it's only second to Ikuchan's PB when it comes to first week sale.
Right.
Unfortunately for Mizuki, her sustain isn't as strong. Like her following week sale isn't quite as powerful, so her total sale is going to lag further behind many other members. And I think that's where the interesting question comes in. Like Yoda, I feel like Yoda's PB might, like initially I was thinking it might not sell as strongly in the first week. And I'm not so sure about that anymore. I think she might sell on par with Mitsuki, but I feel like Yoda's PB might have stronger concurrent sale. Like the sale in following weeks might be stronger for Yoda's PB, and my guess is Yoda PB will outsell Mizuki's in the long term. And yeah, that's the thing everybody's been talking about.
Yeah, well, one thing I would say is that I think if you kind of look at how these sell, it might give you some interesting clues as to which of these two is actually more popular. Because if you look at
Mm.
handshake sales, you can't tell because they both sell out very, very consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real meaningful data to compare there. My personal
Mm-hmm.
feeling is that I think management sort of feel as though Mizuki is a better fit for the image of the group that they want. So I think management favours Mizuki for that reason. But
Mm.
if Yoda outsells her to a significant degree, it might be interesting to sort of see how that influences their thinking in the next year or so.
Mm.
And
That's
I
interesting.
also, it does make me wonder a little bit whether that might explain why these two photo books are coming out in such a short period
Mm.
of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Mitsuki's first PP, it's Yoda's second, and there's a lot of PP, like Manatsu's coming out with her second PP too, and we already know, yeah, we already know Manatsu and Miona supposedly. It makes us wonder whether there will be more PP coming out, because there's a lot of member who, like, the timing would make sense for a new PP, but surprisingly, it hasn't been announced yet. So, for example, we talk about member like Maya and Asuka. These two, especially Asuka, have the potential to sell a lot, and should be safe
Ye-
to assume management like money, right?
yeah, I mean, I think
Mm.
if you're talking about Mayan, I think it's kind of slightly surprising that there wasn't anything coming out around the time of her graduation to sort of capitalize on the hype of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I kind of wonder a little bit whether Mayan's interest in everything modeling related, I mean, like PB is kind of
Mm.
modeling related, even if it's not modeling. She kind of seems to have
Mm.
lost interest in a lot of that stuff, so maybe that's why. Um, Asuka, I think it's kind of surprising because you would feel as though now would be the time when management wants to promote her as much as possible, so that the image of her being the new face of the group is kind of like burned into people's minds.
Mm.
But
Yeah. Hmm.
I know Asuka has a PB, but it came out when she was like still quite young. So I've never looked at it because I kind of like have a kind of subconscious law about not really looking them up unless the members are over 20.
Mm. Asuka PB came around. It came out at 2017 January.
Right.
Yes. The surprising thing about it is that, 2017, Asuka's kind of on the rise, but she's not quite on the top yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So the first week sale for Asuka's PP was 58,000. That's pretty good, but it's not like earth-shattering good, right? But like the overall sale, like the total sale, Asuka's PP is actually the first highest selling. It's sitting at 189,000. That's higher than any of Nasa's PP. So the interest is definitely there, and this is for a PP that was published in 2017 January. So I imagine if Asuka has her second PP, now that she's clearly the top, the undeniable top of Nogi, she could see number that's similar to what Ikujang PP put off.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Asuka's first PB was quite well received, was it not?
I've seen a lot of people like it, yeah. She's shooting in both Hokkaido and in Okinawa.
Right.
Hmm.
So I mean, like that might partially explain it, but yeah, no, I think there's quite a good potential there sales-wise.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's kind of surprising they haven't.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
we've both got a couple of members in mind of people we'd like to see
Hmm.
get a PB. For me, the obvious one that I've been thinking about for a long time is Minimin.
Hmm.
Because Minimin is like, she's not quite at the highest level of the most popular third gen members, but she's pretty close.
Mm.
And she's also someone who looks really, really good in photos, so
Hmm.
that's kind of why I specifically want one for her amongst all the members that I like.
Hmm.
I'd also quite like to see, like one of the second gens get one as well. So maybe
Mm.
somebody like Maichin could get one.
Mm.
Like, it wouldn't sell, like it wouldn't sell as much, but I think it would be, like a good photo book. And the same goes for Junna.
Hmm. Are you aware that my June actually have one?
Maichin does have one.
Also in 2017, although it's late 2017. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. It was a little bit way back. I don't think it was promoted as much, but I guess my June is relatively less popular than the other people that were publishing PB at the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are getting second PB, like Manazu, Miona, for example. So, and I think their PB were also published around the same time, so it wouldn't be too weird to see Maijun get a second PB.
Yeah.
And I definitely would like to see Matsuen get a second PB.
Yeah. What was Matsson's first PB like?
It was a disaster in my
Right, it's a
opinion.
disaster. Right, yeah. That's what I thought, but I've not seen
Yeah.
it, so
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of people agree Matsu's first PB was just terrible. Like it's shot in Hawaii, but you cannot tell it's shot in Hawaii.
right.
Like, what's the purpose of going to Hawaii if all the photos you're using are not obviously set in Hawaii? Like, it's just bad. Even if we ignore the Hawaii thing, it's just not good looking in my opinion. The cover is bad too. I don't know why. It was from CanCam, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why CanCam screwed up so badly on Matsun's PB when their regular photo shoots on their magazine look perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first PB did Matsun no justice at all, and it would be nice to see a second PB so we can pretend the first one don't exist.
Yeah. I mean that's what they had to do with Nanase, so
Yeah, we have a lot of bad first PB. My young's first PB was terrible. Nanase's first PB was I say that's terrible, but not the best. Like her second, third one are much better.
Yeah.
Uh, and then there's Madsen, which is like, yeah, horrendous in my opinion.
So yeah, we're just going to talk a little bit about, all the things that there's quite a lot of stuff coming out
Hmm.
as well. I think the thing that I want to kick off with is the Eizouken movie.
Hmm.
I wanted to talk a little. I mean, obviously, it's still a couple of months away from completion, so we won't know anything about it for a while. But I'm kind of, worried and excited about it, and I'll talk about why I'm excited about it first. And it's because I started watching the anime, and it's a really,
Hmm.
really good show. It's full
Hmm.
of it's very, very wholesome, which is nice for anyone who's had to watch. What was the name of the last film that Miona was in?
Oh, hot gimmick.
Hot Gimmick, yeah. So for anyone who's had to watch Hot Gimmick, the fact that it's very wholesome will come as like a big relief for those people, I think.
Hmm.
And also it's just, like an incredibly creative and fun show with, memorable characters, and an interesting world. And I think it's very, very nice just to sort of a lot of the things that Nogizaka members have been involved in over the years have been, good, but
Hmm.
none of them have really been something that I'd be particularly interested in, just on its own merits um, if they weren't appearing in it.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, the downside of that is that Eizouken is a TV show which relies heavily on the ability to sort of switch into alternate modes that are drawn in a
Hmm.
very, very distinct style.
Hmm.
How this is going to be replicated in any way in live action form is something that I'm very, very skeptical about.
Hmm.
Like, I'm not really completely sure that it can even be done.
Hmm.
Although, I sort of think if you're looking at the characters, I think Asuka is very capable of portraying the character she's portraying. Mizuki
Hmm.
is very capable of portraying the character she's portraying, and I think while while Minimin doesn't look all that much like the character she's portraying, the character she's portraying is very individual. She's a very, very strong character in sort of like every sense. I'd say,
Hmm.
Miniman has shown a couple of glimpses here and there in the very restricted amount of acting role she's had available
Hmm.
to her to make me believe she can play someone who's very, very different to her own personality,
Hmm.
which I think is the biggest challenge there. So I guess what I'm looking at is I'm quite hopeful about their performances, but I'm still very skeptical about the ability to transfer it into a live action setting.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a good concern, legitimate concern. I also watched the anime and I quite enjoy it as well. And you're right, one of the appeals of the anime and the manga probably is that it can quickly transition to this imaginary world, and it's not really rooted in reality, right? It's hard to portray that with real life. But I'm not too pessimistic about it because the director, not sure to pronounce his name. He have experience working with a lot of anime manga related content before, and he also has a lot of experience working with Loki before. So if you know Asahi Nagu, that was also directed by him.
Right.
If you know Kakegurui,
Oh
the
yeah, that's right. I think you told me about that, and yeah, I think Kakegurui is one of the best, you know,
adaptation.
manga to live action adaptations that I've seen recently. Because I
Hmm.
think manga to live action is inherently hard because I think a lot of live action directors have no idea how to tone down the cartooniness of manga, and it comes out very, very strangely on the screen. You know, I would sort of say that that's one thing which is good about Eizouken, is that the entire world it's set in is inherently cartoonish in and of itself. So that's probably going to feel a little bit less weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else has seen their scene in Kakaguri where Matsuen is like being this idol that's kind of true face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was portrayed pretty well. I mean, it was faithful to the original, but it also was pretty convincingly played. And I don't watch the whole drama, to be honest. Nor the movie. The Kakaguri movie has Monica in it, so if you're a Monica fan, you should go take a look. But from the tidbits I've seen and from the episode of Monsoon I've seen, it's really well done. It basically is a really good portrayal of the original content, a faithful portrayal. So I think the director is capable, and knowing that these are in his portfolio, I feel like the movie is in good hand. By the way, the director also happened to made the Kokoro no Monologue MV for Nogi, so if you like that, I guess that's something you might want to know as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like the movie, I hope it will come out well.
Yeah, I guess what I say is, long story short, from my perspective, I would rather that Nogizaka members appear in something which might not turn out well, but at least has the potential to be. You know, I'd rather that they end up in a sort of movie which is a failure, but had the potential to be good in the first place, than in one which just never had the potential to be good in the first anyway, like Hot Gimmick. You know, I'm like, Miona does her best, but it's just rubbish source material you can't do anything with.
Yeah.
So yeah, moving on. Wakatsuki Yumi was recently in. I think what it actually aired as was a very, very long TV special. You know, where Wakatsuki plays an idol, a member of a 3-member idol group. And I noticed this just because it was very, very pleasant as somebody who was a very, very big Wakatsuki Yumi fan, just to see her doing her idol thing again, and she's still perfect at it.
Yes, I agree. I feel like it's kind of underappreciated how good Wakatsuki is at this.
Yeah.
She's one of the more underrated idols, in my opinion.
Like, yeah, she still looks absolutely perfect as an idol. Like, the other two girls playing idols with her, you know, it's like, they're good too, but I think it was interesting to see Waka as, like, the centre of a fictional idol group, because it makes you think that had she not joined Nogizaka, she could quite easily have been the centre somewhere else, you know?
That's true.
And, like, I still haven't been able to watch it because I'm still hoping that somebody somewhere is gonna subtitle this, and then I can watch it. But it's also quite nice to see her rapidly growing friendship with Hashimoto Kana, because you know, like, I was not a Hashimoto Kana fan, but I like her a lot on a personal level. You know, like, she seems cool in interviews. And I also really, really respected the way that, even though she was much more popular and well known than the group that she was in, but she stuck with that group for a long time, you know, like longer than she had to. And I kind of always thought, you know, that showed quite a lot of integrity, and it made me like her. And we get a lot of good 2 shots as well. So I am all for Waka's friendship with Hashimoto Kana.
Yeah, they seem to go on the strawberry picking trip every once in a while for some reason.
Yeah, well, you know, they worked together once, and then it kind of seems like they just hit it off.
Yeah, they're definitely really close. You remember that story? I think I mentioned last time when, like, you know, it was after Wakatsuki graduated, and some Nogi member, including Eika, invited her out because they haven't been eating out for a while, and it was after a concert, and Wakatsuki came a bit late, and then after a while, she's like, had to go, Mikana.
Right, yeah.
That's story. It shows that they're close. Yeah, it shows that they're truly close.
We've also got a Yoda Yuki movie coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I've been kind of busy a lot the past couple of weeks, so a lot of the news has passed me by. I think that Slope Podcast has quite a lot of news on this, but I'm completely drawing a blank, although I did think it was really cool to see Yoda playing a Yankee. It's going to be... I think she can handle it, but I think it's going to be bizarre, but I think she can handle it.
Definitely, yeah. It's for an anime manga called Grand Brew. I think it's about diving, swimming, that kind of thing. I'm not too familiar with the source material, so I can't say too much about it. And I think Asuka might be in this one too, but they haven't revealed it yet, of course. So
yeah, well, it's interesting because it seemed as though people identified Yoda in still pictures from this film before it was announced that she was going to be. And I think the thing that really comes through to me about this is that Yoda is very, very strangely distinctive when it comes to photos that show her back. Isn't it weird how you can kind of tell that it's her anyway?
Well, if you see a goblin, you can tell it's a goblin, right?
Yeah, right.
I guess it's the stature. Stature's kind of different, I guess, a bit unique.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very interesting to see Yoda playing a Yankee. Obviously she's not like that at all in person. So, and I think that's part of the fun, right? I don't think Umezawa is too much like Kanamori, but although I do think, visually speaking, I think Mitsuki, Asuka, and Umezawa are very good choice for the character.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think it's a little bit interesting that a lot of people were a lot of anime fans were negative about the choices of the three Nogizaka members because they're too, I guess, attractive looking. Yeah. So obviously for Mizuki's character is a model, so I feel like you can unilaterally dismiss any issues that people would raise in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'd say though is that you're gonna, especially with like Kanamori, who is Minamin's character, is very tall. And famous Japanese actresses are not tall. This isn't Hollywood where everyone is about an inch taller than you would expect them to be in reality. You're going to be hard pressed to find Japanese actors who look like somebody that tall.
Yeah, it's not just actor and actress. Japanese just aren't tall. So it's like Umezawa it's her highest perfect actually.
Yeah.
Even if we ignore the idol aspect and ignore that they're use their important street gaze for it, if we just look on the field of actresses, it's going to be really hard to find someone that tall. So she's a really good fit, and not to mention, I think besides her height, she's prettier maybe, but she actually does look a bit like Kanamori. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you go find someone else that might be as tall, I'm willing to bet chances are she will look less like Kanamori than.
I think Minamin can look very, very intense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what because there's the constant intensity of Kanamori's expression. Is and the other thing is, if you look at Asuka has like the ability to sort of like look like her eyes are like popping out of her skull in the same way that Asakusa, her character, quite often does. I actually think I think Asuka was very, very well cast actually. In fact, I
Yeah.
kind of have quite a strong suspicion that Asuka might have been chosen first, and then they chose the other two Nogizaka members as a result of that.
I think that makes sense. It is a movie. You want someone who kind of has star power, and I mean, Mitsuki and Ume are popular, but they're still relatively more popular as like within their fandom rather than among the general public. It makes sense that Asuka was chosen. She has the star power to help promote the movie.
And I guess my last word on this would be anyone complaining about this casting has never watched Japanese TV or Japanese films, because everyone is implausibly attractive. And I'm going to spin this out even further, and I'd say that the idea of implausibly attractive people on Asian TV and in Asian films is a very, very big thing in the West, right? We look at Asian films and we think, isn't it a bit weird that everyone in these films is implausibly attractive? But I'm like, have we ever watched films produced in America or Europe which aren't sort of, self-consciously gritty dramas? Because unless you're looking at self-consciously gritty dramas, everyone, everywhere in the world, in TV and in films, is implausibly attractive. That's just how it works.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm kind of like a little bit like, I think that the criticism that the members might be too attractive to play the roles they're playing might be true, but it's still irrelevant.
No, I agree. Like, I have two things to say about these people voicing this criticism. Maybe three. The first thing is, like you said, it's just the way movies and films do things. They try to find attractive people and to play people who maybe not it's not supposed to be super attractive. It's just the way the industry works, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing is, even though there are some criticism, I don't think they're too large in number. Like the tweet in question we're talking about got a few like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 likes and retweets. So I think even most anime fans, they are pretty enthusiastic and excited about this. And there might be a few criticism in their comments, but ultimately it's a small number, so I'm not too bothered by them. And thirdly, like, you know what? They're saying Nogis are too pretty. You know what? That's not the worst criticism. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world, is it?
Yeah.
So, talking a little bit more about implausibly attractive people on TV and in films, Mayan's latest film, is it come out or is it coming up?
Oh, it just came out like this week.
Yeah, the smartphone sequel. So this is great because just as Mayan graduates, she's all over TV all the time, which is pretty much the perfect condition for her to sort of like move on with her career.
Yeah, it's a good way to prepare for her transition to earn more like non-idol persona on the entertainment scene. It's good because she don't usually go on TV that much, despite the fact that she's not bad at being on TV. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
well,
like
that's what I was going to say. It's nice to see Mayan all over TV because she's pretty good value, to be honest.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that she's only going on TV more now that she's graduating, but it's like better than never, I guess.
Yeah.
And the movie, I can talk about.
I'm pretty sure Mayan will always cheerlead for Nogizaka given the opportunity, at least. Like, I'm not sure she can just sort of like go on TV and bring it up apropos of nothing. But I think if she sort of like gets the opportunity to sort of like sneak in a good reference, I'm sure she probably will.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But I feel like just in the past relative to some other Nogis and way in the past relative to Ikoma, for example, they always they don't put Mayang on TV much, even though I think she's really good at it and the value she would bring would be much, much bigger. But yeah, another thing about their PR for smartphone is that the sales pretty good apparently. I don't have the specific number, but from what I'm hearing, the movie is beating the original right now. The first one that
Right.
was
Well,
successful.
that's interesting then, isn't it?
Yes. And initially it didn't look like that actually. Like over the weekend, it was selling below par, below what the original was selling. Like it was still selling good, but not like beating the original in the weekend. And people was like, there's the coronavirus, and then there's it's a sequel, right? Sequel usually don't beat the original, so oh well. But then over the weekdays, it start beating the original. So the theory is that people, all the Mayan fans were just at their birthday live in the weekend, so
Right.
they're
Okay.
watching
Kind of
that
makes
the
sense,
weekdays.
doesn't it?
But yeah, so that's their theory at least.
So, talking about the birthday live, um, I actually wanted to do a whole bit on the birthday live, but unfortunately, like I've been incredibly busy this week, and I've kind of not only was I not able to watch the birthday live myself, I wasn't really able to read any people's reactions about it or anything like that.
Mm,
So I kind of wanted to have things to say about the birthday live, but I don't really.
that's fine.
All I've really got to say is that I'm quite glad that we've seen the return of Horisama Gundam, which
Hmm.
is the reformed version of Wakasama Gundam,
Hmm.
featuring Hori,
Hmm.
Tamachan, Minimin, and Zuki, which is a fantastic lineup for a unit.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that it's come back. Firstly,
Hmm.
because I think it's a really good unit in and of itself, but also because one of the things that we've seen happening is that with lots of members graduating, all the units that we saw formed and sort of like gained their own personality and sort of like a little bit of traction in the last couple of years, have basically started to dissipate because all the members have started leaving.
Mm.
So it's nice to see the idea of units within the group coming back a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah, we haven't really seen much of these kind of little sub-unit thing for a while, so it's good to see one returning. And I like the aesthetic, like Holy is looking very detective-like, and I don't know if you saw the picture someone tweeted of Holy when she was way back in the Baleta MV where she shot Mayang.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they're making the same pose. Like I would really pay money to see like either a MV or a drama where it's about Holy arresting Holy or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
well,
just.
I think obviously it's not gonna, we're not gonna get that, but I think what this means is that we might well get a Horisama Gundam song on this new single that's coming out.
It must be because it has to be for the MV. Like what else could it be for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm. Yeah. Is there any other Gundam you like to see? Like anything else
Um,
that's either new or returning? Both work really.
yeah, nothing else really seems active at the moment.
Yeah.
I kind of, yeah, like, so that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see either some new sort of units forming, or some units like reforming and being used again.
Mm. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. It'd be really interesting to see maybe some of the newer member get something.
yeah,
Uh, I'm imagining like I don't know a Koboshi Gundam, but that might be impossible because that would literally include everybody. So maybe that can work.
yeah.
Hmm.
I what I'd kind of like to see is I'd like to see like I'd actually quite like to see like a backwards Kuboshi Gundam, which is
Backward.
like of all the because Kuboshi is a big Nogizaka fan who likes
Hmm.
lots of the members. So I'd actually like to see it a Kuboshi Gundam of the members that she likes and is very
Mm.
interested in. I think that would be like a nice reversal of the kind of dynamic we've had in the unit so far.
True, but she likes everybody though.
That's also true, yeah. Um, so
Best sub unit ever.
yeah, I think like talking a little bit about uh, returns.
Hmm.
We've had it was very, very nice to see in Nogizaka Dokoe this week, Kitagawa Yuri has returned to the show. And seemingly, like, it did seem as though, I'm not quite sure what was going on. Like, she probably had some kind of pressing business, maybe school or something like that. But, you know, like, she'd been absent for quite a long time and hadn't appeared on anything, and she didn't appear on fourth gen's episode of, that or Nogiego either. So it looks like she's back from whatever it was that was keeping her away from the group, which I'm very happy to see. It's nice. It's not nice to see, members have to become passive, like so quickly after joining the group.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was some sort of educational commitment. She seems to take her education quite seriously, which is a good thing. It was quite a shame she wasn't at Nogizaka because, well, we all know how comedy going Nogizaka is, and Yuri speaks good English, and it would have been fun to see her maybe playing some.
The thing is not only can she speak good English, she's also quite spacey and weird as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It would be fun to see her playing the contrasting duo with Ray, who's also good English, but Ray is like a bundle of sunshine, and where Yuri is like a spacey little girl. It's
I mean, one of my favorite bits from that most recent episode of Nogizaka was that they would, they were doing a sort of like game where you get a clue and you need to guess what it was. And Ray got it straight away on the first clue, because it was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Ray got it straight away, and everyone else was kind of looking at each other because they couldn't figure out whether that was it.
Yeah.
They couldn't tell whether the segment was over or not. Only Nick knew that the segment was over, which is a really, really good moment. So I'm really, really glad to see her back. And I also, we wanted to talk a little bit about, recently it feels as though Kuboshi has had a bit of a revival. And her career after coming back from hiatus seems to be coming back a bit, but also it kind of feels as though a lot of the people I know and talk to on, like the timeline, on my Twitter timeline, have sort of started talking about her again. And it really feels nice because she was somebody who I think the fan base had a lot of hope for, management had a lot of hope for various reasons, she had to take some time off, and a lot of her early promise wasn't realised. Now it feels like it might be. And I think it's very, very nice to see someone who has a lot of potential to actually fulfil that potential.
Yeah, I think she is getting more attention. I think that's a natural product of her appearing in more stuff. I think she's always a really good idol, so if she's able to appear in media, do more things, people and fans will notice her and let her do her own thing, which is attract people. It would be nice to see her a bit more prominent on the various Nogi variety show these days. I think that'd be really nice to see, and maybe we can see her do what we just discussed about, some sort of subunit, like some playing a bigger role, especially since first gen is slowly graduating. It would be really helpful to have a big Loki fan, right? That's also in the group to do more. I would also like to see a PP from her, although I'm not sure how likely that is.
Yeah, she was one of the other members I was thinking about mentioning when we were talking about PPs earlier as well. And I'd also say that I think it would be better if she appeared more in the variety shows, because I think that while Mayan comparisons are always dangerous, I think one thing she has in common with Mayan is that she's not a variety member, but she's surprisingly good value. Like on those shows, it's like she'll never be like Maya or Hazuki, sort of like getting like loads and getting loads and loads of laughs over and over again. But I think she actually does quite well, and it's just because her attitude is very, very. Her attitude transmits to people very, very well. And she's always enthusiastic about the stuff she does.
That's true. Yeah, they definitely would like to see her play a more active role. And first gen are slowly graduating, so maybe that will come naturally.
So, like one more little bit of news. Unfortunately, we already mentioned coronavirus and the problem it's caused, globally, but especially in East Asia, and the second gen concert has been cancelled, which is a real shame because, we were talking about how it would be great if this was an opportunity for second gen to show management what they were capable of. Because it kind of felt as though the opportunity was there. If this concert was a big success, I guess I hope that do you know if any of the tickets have gone on sale or anything?
They're getting refunded as far as I know,
Right.
and it's a shame because not only is it cancel, it's canceled, right? It's not postponed. I mean, I feel like they could have tried postponing it instead. But yeah, it would be nice if it got like they try to hold one again in the future. But the other sad thing is that this might have been Kotoko Stats live.
Yeah,
So,
basically.
it's a shame.
Because
It's not.
now I think what's happened is instead that Kotako's last concert probably was the birthday live, but there was no like significant acknowledgement of that fact.
Yeah, there was something special, I think. It's not only the second gen concert getting cancelled. Like, just yesterday they were doing their Tokyo Girl collection, and there's no audience. So they're still doing the
Right. Okay, that explains so much because I quite often I kind of watch parts of it live when it's happening. Like this time I didn't watch any of it live, and I guess I should have just noticed that there was nobody screaming for the Nogizaka members like they usually do. And now you've mentioned it, it seems so glaring and obvious.
Yeah, like especially for Asuka and Maya, those are always the member that receive the loudest scream. But yeah, there was something this time because there was no audience, and for these fashion walk, they always have artists come and perform, and Nogi always perform, but we never get to see the performance because it's for the audience only, right? They always cut off the live stream to some interview instead while they're performing. But there's no audience, so there's no point of withholding their performance. So we get to see the performance. And I saw like the footage of Nogi performing Garuru, and Garuru is always like the best song for live. There's all these fan chants, like they'll go like Chojo Kawaii Mayang and Mayang at the beginning, and no, there's no fan chant this time. And
I'm gonna be pitchforked for this, but I've never liked fan chants. I've never liked I've never been into it, and I think it's just due to a completely different musical culture. Because it's like I go and see live music all the time. Like various like metal and punk and electronic music, and I kind of find the idea of not just people yell stuff, like that's going to happen, but the idea of people doing stuff which is almost like like in competition with the music itself is just something that I've never been able to comprehend or appreciate. And it's kind of one of the things that stopped me actually going for it to see like underground idol concerts when I went to Japan, because it feels a little bit like mandatory fun. And mandatory fun is the worst kind of fun.
That sounds like a Simpsons segment or something.
It's not. I know I know a lot of the things that I post are ripped off from The Simpsons. It's not one of them.
Yeah, I think I can kind of appreciate that. I don't think it works for every song. Like fan chant for, I don't know, influencer would be pretty weird. But I think Garuru is like the perfect song for it, and it was very unusual to see without any.
But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that happened in TGC. No audience, and second gen concerts cancelled. So we can see the virus is affecting a lot of stuff.
I think it did show you just like, idols really are pros though. Like they could sort of like give like a good performance, not you just like nobody there. because even when they go on music TV or something, there will usually be, at the very least, like the other performers will be sat around.
Yeah.
So to like perform to nobody is really, really difficult.
Yeah, I guess they can just think of it as like rehearsal.
Yeah. Just to like show any kind of conviction at all is like amazing, I think. So I think this leads us on to what's going to be the final topic for this episode, which is the new song.
Hmm.
Now, I think, like to be clear here, I've only heard the song, like from somebody's recording of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't expect the song to change in any meaningful way when it's released, but like there might be like some, there might be some minor changes to the song. The song might sound like richer when it's not somebody's recording of a recording of the song. So, like there's kind of scope for this song to improve. But like I heard it and I didn't like it.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people share that sentiment. Like, it's definitely not like the fan favorite at least.
I mean, I've seen, I have seen people speaking up in its defense. Like, I mean, I think my guess would be a majority of the people I regularly talk to on Twitter didn't like it. But that's a small sample size, and I also think that there are kind of... I've seen people, I don't follow many Japanese Nogizaka fans on Twitter because I can read Japanese, but it's like a slow, painstaking process. I can't just sort of like go through and sort of like read people's reactions like I'm reading English. I need to sort of like sit down, and so I don't follow that many Japanese idol fans, but as I understand it, the Japanese reaction to it is better. That's something that does need to be mentioned, I think.
It seems so, but I'm not sure like how much better it is.
Right, okay.
Regarding the song, there's radio riff now, I think. I think it was played on my June's radio segment, so there should be a slightly better quality version of it right now. But yeah, it's definitely not the best. I mean, even if it's not like as bad as some reception are right now, I don't think it's going to be a song that's as good as, say, Synchronicity, for example, or I don't know. I feel like Ma Yang can use a much better song for graduation. Like, if we want to go for something that's not like not melodramatic, like some of the past graduation song, we want something a bit happier. Let's just say maybe that's what Ma Yang wants. I mean, something that a bit more like Sakachi no Katasumuri would be nice, right? Sakachi no Katasumuri, sorry. So, I feel like it could be a song that's a lot better, and as of this moment, I feel like it's inferior to their other B-side, this one that they're using for their commercial build-up. The one that's called Sayonara, what was it?
I'm not sure, sorry.
Stay with me. Sayonara, stay with me, something like that.
So, I guess, like, like I did have, I did sort of like write some like hissy fit posts about this on Twitter, and I kind of, I hope that by the time we recorded this episode, I'd have a more balanced view of things. But like sadly, like I'm still my brain is still ranting about this. So I think the thing that I don't like about this is that it's part of a pattern of Nogizaka songs which have been designed to evoke nostalgia. And I don't like this because I feel as though these kinds of songs are, like primarily directed towards older audiences. And, I understand why idol groups do this because older people buy CDs. Like, I'd say that even people my age, like in their 30s, we still don't buy CDs. People in their 20s don't buy CDs. And I know that people in Japan tend to buy CDs more than they do in America or Europe. But even so, like younger people don't buy as many. So I kind of feel as though they've gone for this because, like the older audience will buy CDs, and also because I also feel as though it's because if you sort of narrow it down, really, the biggest audience for idols is men aged about 30 to 60. And I kind of don't like it because I feel as though this kind of demographic targeting is unnecessary for a group with Nogizaka's profile, and especially one which is, I mean, there might be somebody who's got, sort of like complex, accurate data about the demographics of Nogizaka fans, but like the public perception is that most Nogizaka fans are sort of like people either in their late teens or early 20s. They're the kind of people who are not hardcore fans of specific members. They're the kind of they're the kind of ambient casual audience that's there for the group, and I can't see why the group isn't making more efforts to appeal to that group, especially because, I mean, personally speaking, I think if you look at the sort of like releases between, say, even Seifka no Mannequin all the way through to Synchronicity, like these are all like modern pop songs. Like I think like there might be some that are better than others, but that's what they're aiming for, overall. And I don't really understand why these nostalgia-tinged singles have suddenly become a major thing.
The most charitable theory I have for this song being chosen is that they want something that can blow up, and the best example they can think of is Corey's Fortune Cookie, which is kind of a song that sounds a bit Showa, I guess. And they're trying to replicate that. That's the most charitable explanation I can think of.
The thing is, if you're going to do a show with single, it's got to have a killer chorus. Because, I mean, like, my personal opinion, like, Koisuru Fuchikiriki is not my favourite. Like, as much as I love Sashi, it's far from my favourite AKB single. But it's got, like, a chorus which is literally impossible to forget.
That's true.
Like, it's playing in my head right now as we're having this conversation. And I might not think it's a particularly good song, but I still can't forget about it.
Yeah, it's catchy, right? It's very easy to remember. This single isn't like, I don't remember the song right now. I'm trying to remember it, but I can't remember the song right now. It's not doing that. But that's the most charitable explanation I have. If I want to be less charitable, I just don't think management cares as much about my young, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What do you put on cover?
Like, I also kind of feel as though this is also worrying because I kind of feel as though if you when Itsuka Dekiru Kara Kyo Dekiru came out, I thought, like, this is a kind of slightly like below average song for the group. But I kind of thought that it might have sounded the way it did because it was specifically done to tie in with Asahi Nagu. And I kind of like didn't really like Taiyo Knock that much either, which was done to tie in with Hatsumori Bemaz. And the thought I had in my head was, maybe like this single has been made in this way because it's designed to tie in with, like the opening sequence of a film. So sometimes you need to make, if you're going to do this, you've got to sort of make music which will fit in with that. And then, like Synchronicity came out and I thought, okay, normal service restored. But I would say, while Kairi Michi grew on me because I think Kylie Michi's chorus is really good. I think Kylie Michi's verse is a bit weak, but the chorus is really good, and every time I sort of listened to it after it came out, I appreciated it more and more. But I would say that, since Itsuka Dekiru came out, Synchronicity is the only song they've done which I've enjoyed in a completely uncomplicated way. And that's very worrying because that's a long time. That's a couple of years now. And I kind of think that I kind of got used to just enjoying every single Nogizaka single as it came out. And the fact that we've gone quite a long time without me being completely positive about one is just incredibly worrying to me.
Yeah, that's true. You know how in the old days Akira Sunset used to write songs for us? These days he seems to be a bit there's stuff in life preoccupying him, unfortunately. But yeah, I feel like it's been a while, right, since we have a very good song. What do you think of the cover, though?
Yeah, so I guess. Sorry, one last thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap this up is just that, what we've been talking about since the podcast came out is, like the possible, like the potential for the group, and, like the potential for things to go wrong with the group. And, all along what we've been talking about is the danger posed by, if members graduate, will the group's popularity suddenly tank, without the support of people like, Nanase and Mayan, and also, like Mai, Nanamin, Reiko, Wakatsuki, and all the others. It's kind of got to the point where I'm thinking maybe the thing that poses the greatest danger to the group is not members graduating, but it's just the music. Because, I think that, like when most people come across a group they might potentially be interested in, what they'll do is they'll listen to the single that's come out now. And then if it's not quite their thing, they'll go to the previous single and the previous single. But if you do that, and none of the songs will appeal to you, I think most people will give up after about 3 or 4 songs. And if people start doing this with Nogizaka's back catalogue and it doesn't improve, I think it could be really damaging for the potential of getting new people interested in the group unless songwriting improves, like, very, very, very soon.
Yeah, that reminds me of my interest about in 48 groups. Like, it matched how I was losing interest in their songs. As their songs become less and less appealing, I gradually become less and less interested in the group as well. And you would think it has to do more with members, like who's in the 48 groups and how interested I am in them. But yeah, I think song praise are underrated role. Like songs is much more important than we realize, and I think that there is a genuine fear that we should have regarding this.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that, there's some good songs on the most recent album, so it's not like there's no good songs out there, like some of the recent B-sides have been good as well. But I worry about the criteria they have for selecting them. But anyway, that's enough naysaying. Let's get on to the covers. I mean, I think, a lot of the sort of comments I've seen about the covers is that they're ridiculous because it looks like they've got fish bowls on their head. Now it's true. Like I think these photos look ridiculous, but I kind of have like a lot of fondness for them as well. Because while it's kind of like goofy, it's not as though they've sort of tried to do something which is very clever and have failed. What they've kind of done is they've gone for like a goofy premise and that's what they've got. And I think these photographs are nice. I think the members look really good in them, and that, you know, my eyesight is not great, so there might be a lot of idol single covers have like bad Photoshop on them, and I can't see any here. It might be here, but I can't actually see it. So
No, I think if it's bad photo, it should be pretty obvious, right?
yeah,
Yeah, no, I think they are like relatively well taken photos, and no, I agree with you. I think they're kind of fun. They might not be the most aesthetically pretty cover in Nogi's history, but you know, they are definitely different. They are very bold. They are very original, and at least Mahayandong got the fishbowl on her head, which is fitting since she's a center and you know she's
yeah.
graduating.
Like
So
this photo, I mean, I know that like any photographer with genuine skill should be able to take a good photo of Mayan, but this
that's
is a really,
true.
really good photo. And I do kind of wonder a little whether, because it's so good, you know, like, will Mayan fans just go and buy a copy of this CD just so they can, like, have it on their shelf or something?
Yeah, I might do that if I live in Japan, right?
You
The
know,
fishbowl thing.
especially people who are, like, more fans of Mayan than the group. And, it's, you know, there are people like that, which
True,
is
true.
kind of fair enough, you know.
Yeah. You know, we've been talking about collaboration, right? Like how the song might be, like if we're being charitable, the song might be a tie-in for something. You know, maybe the answer is right in front of us. Maybe Nogi is going to do a Jetson
Yeah, they're
adaptation.
going to do a Jetsons tie-in, aren't they?
Yeah, like they're like Screw the Flintstone. We're
I think
Jetson
it's
people.
time for it to come back. I think, yeah, the Jetsons is an underrated gem, which definitely needs to come back.
You know,
But
it would be really.
only if Nogizaka is involved. Otherwise, it's terrible and should never come back.
You know what's really pretty funny if the Jetson do come back is that you know it's trying to depict the future from the perspective of like the 1990s. So a lot of things actually don't make sense anymore. Like they have fat TVs, for example,
Mm,
and they have cell phones that are obviously inferior to our cell phone.
yeah,
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that's kind of unusual now if the Jetson do come back. But yeah, it would be interesting if it does.
I think yeah, like I think retrofuturism is brilliant because people's interest in retrofuturism just shows how postmodern our society has truly become, and
Mm.
how pretty much everything is, you know, all culture is just consumed sarcastically now.
mm.
But anyway, yeah, like, despite the sort of like inherent ridiculousness of these covers, I kind of can't help feeling slightly fond of them.
Hmm. And they are better than a Friendzone inspired cover, no?
It is much better than yeah, because like you know, like the Jetsons I'm not bothered about, but the Flintstones, like, yeah, no, I spent time I spent time sort of like labouring through it as a kid. You know, like when I was a sort of like 5 or 6 year old child, I sort of like laboured through the Flintstones until something else was better on TV after I came home from school. So
Mm.
if it had been Flintstones referencing, I would have been properly mad. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be so weird if they're like dressed up in fake historic caveman outfit.
yeah.
Mm.
So you know, to sign off, retrofuturism good, cavemen bad. So that's goodbye from me, John.
And from Rusty here.